by the number of miles driven, x, and is calculated based upon the following equation. F of x equals negative 0.04x plus 18.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Olivia, can you help me read part A, please?
Assuming you'll start on a full tank of gas, how many gallons are left after driving 100 miles?
Good. So we're looking for how many gallons are left. So gallons is which variable? X or f of x? X, right? So okay. So whenever you guys are reading a question, we want to identify what variable goes with what. So be careful. It says here the number of gallons left in a tank of gas in this particular paragraph is what variable again? Not X. Number of gallons left in the tank of gas is f of x, right? And it says, then it went on and said, it's determined by the number of miles driven, x. So what does x represent? Miles driven. So since if you don't have a highlighter, then use different kind of ways to denote your the variables and representation. So we are looking for how many gallons are left. So is that x or is that f of x? What is it? F of x, okay. So we're looking for how many, okay. Then what is given to us? What do we know? 100 miles. So that is what variable? X. Okay, so we know x. We're looking for f of x. So we're going to use your equation. Every time we see an x from our equation, what are we going to plug in? Yeah, which is x is what? 100. So f of 100 equals negative 0.04 times 100 plus 18. Okay. So if you need to borrow a calculator, you may go stretch your legs back there. Mrs. Patterson still left her calculator there. So, Josie, what is negative 0.04 times 100? Negative 4 plus 18. And so, Tony, what's negative 4 plus 18? Yeah, they're back there. Yeah, stretch your legs now, guys, so go find it. Go grab one. $14. Perfect. Okay. It's a word problem. It's an application. So we always have to have units. Okay. So after driving for 100 miles, this is 14 what? Miles, gallons. What is it? 14 what? Gallons. Exactly. So always, guys, have the correct unit of measurement. Okay. All right. Let's go on to do B. Savannah's not here. Susie's not here. Daniel, can you help me read part B, please?
When will the gas tank be empty?
Ooh, what does that mean, guys, by empty? F of x is going to be 0. So we are trying to solve for what variable? X, yep. So 0 equals, your original equation was negative 0.04 x plus 18, and you solve for this normally, okay? So to solve for this normally, Audrey, what would you do first to solve for x? Good. So negative 18 students equals negative 0.04x. Next step, Kayla, how do you solve for x? Good. Go ahead and use your calculator. If you have one, go ahead and punch it in, Kayla. Let me know what this comes out. 18 divided by 0.04. One more time. 450. Someone confirm that for me? Yeah. Okay. And unit of measurement, y'all. What would this be? miles. Okay, it will take you 450 miles to empty your tank. Okay. All right, so this is a chart. Normally, whenever we give you guys a chart, it's more of a guideline, okay, a recommendation. So creating linear models. Sometimes we are not given the equation, like the first example that we just got done in the problem, and you have to create it ourselves. Margot, can you help me read number 1, please? No, just number 1 in the box. Yeah, highlight the question. What is it that we're trying to find, okay? Slater, number 2, please.
Highlight any numbers.
Yes, earlier we were kind of underlining numbers and then variables. If you don't have a different color, then go ahead and use wavy line, double line, single line, okay? Roman, number 3, please.
Highlight any keywords.
Perfect. Number 4, please, Shay. Good. Andrew, number 5.
Use the variables, numbers, and any other information to write a question.
Perfect. Number 6, Chelsea. Perfect. Number 7, Corey.
Solve.
Yes. And then number 8, Levi.
Check your answer. Does the answer make sense to context?
Okay, very good. That's actually one of the most important guidelines there. So here's the thing. If we're solving, for example, if we're solving for how many people will such and such, can you have negative people?
No.
Right? How about how many feet is the ball in the air? What happens when you come up to negative feet? Is that possible?
No.
Yeah. So stuff like that is when we have to be cautious about, okay? So Ava, help us read number 2, please.
The office manager of a small office ordered 140 packs of printing paper. Based on average daily use, she knows that the paper will last for 80 days. How many packs of paper should the manager expect to have after X days?
Okay. So let's kind of highlight or underline key information. The office manager of a small office order what? 140 packs of printer paper. Remember, we have to write the equation ourselves here. Then based on the average daily use, she knows that the paper will last how much? How long? 80 days, okay? So I'm going to use, if you only have a pencil, you can go like this, okay? Now we want to highlight or underline the question here. How many packs of paper should the manager expect to have extra after X days? And down here we have like 30 days and then 60 days. So this is the question that we want to answer. So I'm going to use double line, okay? Because I already used one line for the other one. Okay, we want to write an equation. Part A says write an equation to represent the problem. You can remember in math there are many ways to have to approach the same question, but we need to define variables. We can use X and we can use Y, or we can use P for paper and you can use D for days. It doesn't really matter. So for us, we can say let Y equals packs of printer paper used. Packs of printer paper used, okay? And then X will be, guess what X will be, guys? Well, that's how many was ordered and used. Days, yeah, number of days, okay? Number of days. All right. We can write this equation in multiple ways. So, anybody want to get a start? How do we write this equation? What would you like? Daniel?
Divide 140 by 80 to get the amount of paper used each day.
Yeah. Okay. So, do you guys remember back in Algebra 1, we used to do proportional, right? So there's 2 ways. We can do 140. 140 represents what, guys? Okay, yep, pack of paper order and use. Over 80. Is that okay so far? This equals 140 is on the numerator, and that is the packs of printer paper used. And we use Y for that. And then over the bottom, which is 80 days, and we use x. This is okay to have as an equation. Does that make sense so far? Now, some of us said, well, can I write it in terms of y equals? What would happen if we write it in y equals? Then we want to reduce, okay, the 140 over 80. This is an or. That means you can have one or the other. Can I reduce 140 over 80? What would that be? What's 140 over? Reduce, can we cancel the 0? Yeah. Then we have 14 over 8 left. They're both even. Can I divide by 2? Yeah. 7 over 4 is the variable, okay? The ratio. Then we can, some of those, well, can I solve for y? Sure you can. Can you guys see that we can cross multiply? If we were to solve for y, we would have 4y equals how many x's? 7. Then we can divide both sides by what? Remember, some of us like the y equal format. What would that be? Yeah, so guys, the ratio is 7 over 4 per x, which is x represents what? Per day, okay? So either one would be exactly okay to use to solve. Does that make sense so far? Part B says how many packs of printer paper are left after 30 days and 60 days, okay? Remember, this equation represents how many packs of paper what? The y represents what? Use, right? I want to make sure we're clear of the definition. Can you guys see that? But what is the question B asking? Left. So how do we find something that's left over if our equation is how many is used? Right. All right. So part B1I. How many packs of printer papers are left after? Well, we want to find the use first. We have an equation for use. Y equals 7 over 4 times what? 30. Okay. Equals. Can I reduce that, by the way? 30 and 4. This is kind of like 30 over 1 right here. Okay. When you multiply fractions, what should we do? Okay, multiply horizontally, or I can reduce first. 30 and 4 are both even. We can start reducing by 2. Okay, so 4 divided by 2 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So take your calculator. 7 times 15 is what, Kane?
You said what?
7 times 15. What would we get? 105. Do you guys agree? Divided by 2. Dexy's not here. Tamer, 105 divided by 2 will give us what? Just 0.1?
1 over 5 divided by 2.
105 divided by 2.
Oh, 105.
Yeah.
52.5.
52.5. Is this leftover paper or used packs of paper? Use, okay? But we want to find leftover. So what do? Take what and minus what, Daniel?
Subtract 140 from 52.5.
Right. Okay. So Sadie, take your calculator. 140 minus 52.5, or do it mentally. What do we get? 37.5 packs of paper.
87.
I'm sorry, what did you say? 87 packs of paper left over or used. What is it again? Leftover. Daniel?
I have a question.
Sure.
Are we allowed to use fractions, or do we have to?
Yes, I will always love.
Are we allowed to use decimals?
Oh, for paper, for sure. Because I normally have a third of a pack, you know what I mean? For paper, yeah, a fraction of a pack is totally okay. Perfect. All right, you guys try out 60 days on your own. So work it out. Don't forget, we always need unit on application.
I have a question about something I saw on the paper.
Yeah, let me see. So your leftover is totally. I don't. That's okay. I will also accept that. There are multiple ways that I would accept.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So whenever you guys are done in your team, can you compare answers? Because I'm gonna shuffle your deck of cards here. Yeah, leftover or use, remember. Calvin, you done, bud?
Yeah.
All right. So, can you teach us? What did you do?
I did y equals 7 over 4 times 60 over 1.
60 over 1. And then what did that come out?
Well, you could reduce if you simplify the 4 and 60, you get 1 for the denominator on the first one, and then 15
Okay.
on the top. So you get 105 over 1.
105 over 1. So it's kind of like 105. And this is paper used or leftover?
This is the paper that was used.
Used, okay. And then, but the question wants to know how many are leftover. So what did you do after?
I subtracted that from 140.
All right, 140 minus 105. And then what did you end up getting?
35.
35 packs leftover. Okay. Beautiful. Good job. All right, Shaheen, let's move on to number 2. Can you help me with number 2, please?
Jamie wants to go to the movies for her birthday. She wants to buy the tickets online so she can pick her seats ahead of time and not have to wait in line. Tickets are $14.50 each, and in purchasing online, there's a convenience fee of $3 added to the total purchase price.
Okay, so we have a couple of things. The tickets are what? $14.50 each. Okay, and what else? Yeah, unfortunately, when we do buy tickets online, it does cost us an extra $3. Okay. Now, it says here, part A, write an equation to represent the situation. So obviously, we're talking about money. What would the other variable be? Each, right? Each means what? What does it represent? Huh? X. But each, what does that mean? Yeah. But I'm talking about like per person, right? Per ticket, per person. Does that make sense so far? So let X be, and let Y be what? So let X, I'm going to have to write let X, I'm sorry, one more time. Well, she says she wants to go to the movies. It hasn't said anything about herself yet. So maybe she might be able to invite some friends. Depends on her parents, I suppose. Okay, let X be the number of, do you guys want to use people or tickets? Which one do you want to use? Tickets, okay, number of tickets. Okay, let Y be what? Cost, yep, you are correct. Then we have to write an equation, guys. Cost equals, tell me what to write. $14.50. What? X, yep. Plus 3. You are correct. Excellent. Well, here's Anthony's question, Anthony. How many friends can Jamie invite if her mom says she can only spend $100? So for this question, what are we solving for? X or Y? X. We're solving for X. You're right. Okay, so 100 goes where? Y equals 14 0.5x plus 3. All right, let's solve. Jackson's not here, so we're going to go to Talia. Solve for x, please. What would you do?
Subtract the 3 from 100.
Good. So what's 100 take away 3?
97.
Perfect. 97 equals 14.5x. Then Nolan, now what, hon? Talia did that already. Good. Go ahead and take your calculator, punch it in. Okay. All right, Nolan, go ahead. 97 divided by 14.5. What is x coming out to be?
6.7.
6.7. Well, can we just write 6.7? No. What would you write? 6 tickets, right? We can't use 6.7. We can say 6 tickets, but that's not the question, guys. The question is, how many friends can Jamie invite? 5. Jamie can invite 5 friends, okay? Oh yeah, it's her birthday. So you're gonna go to her birthday party without her? Okay. All right, box that up. So be careful with the question. The word's not here. All right, Nick, help us read part C.
How much would it cost if Jamie just invites her 3 best friends?
Ooh. So how much is going to cost for Jamie and to invite 3 of her best friends? So how many tickets would you need?
4.
See how make sure we are very cautious. We need x equals 4, right? 4 tickets. All right, you guys find the cost. Once you have an answer, don't forget unit of measurement, whatever that unit may be. Check with your friends. Okay. You have a question, Shaheen, or answer? Oh, not yet. I'm going to give everyone else. Check with your friends first. Box it up. Can money be fraction? Yeah. Okay. Whenever it comes to money, we don't have to remind you how to round. How do we round money? To the 10th or 100th decimal place. 1 or 2 decimal places. To the hundreds. Yep, 2. Okay. All right, Sean. How much is it going to cost Jamie?
$61.
$61. Perfect. Okay. All right, we are moving into the second half of this because that's how quick these are. All right. Note, piecewise application. Okay. An equation can be used to model real-world situations, just like the first sentence on the prior set of notes here. We can use those equations to figure out the details. So here we go. Can you help me read? Katie, help me read number 1. Ask an employee.
As an employee at FedEx, you lost $25 per hour paid weekly, but earns time and a half for over more than 40 hours. Weekly paycheck is modeled by the following.
Perfect. No, it's okay. So this is his weekly paycheck. Okay. So what is his hourly rate? $25 per hour. What's his overtime rate? 1.5, right? All right. So the equation says R of x equals, there's 2 pieces, 25x every time he works from 0 all the way to how many hours? 40, okay? Then a second part said 37.5 times the quantity of x minus 40 plus 1,000 when x is what? Over 40, okay? So students, R of x represents what? What's R of x? What is it? What's R of x? Yeah, weekly paycheck. That means money, right guys? X in this question represents what?
The hours paid.
Yep, hours worked. Yes or no? Okay, part A. Okay, Sadie, help us read part A, please. Perfect. If Ross works 37 hours a week, what is his pay? Out of the two pieces, Sadie, which piece are we going to use to find his paycheck amount for part A? Good job. All right, guys. So R of 37 equals 25 times 37. So we're plugging into the first one. Video, whenever you're ready, give me the final answer in this one, hon.
9.5.
So 925 hours, or what is the unit of measurement?
That's his pay.
Yep. Okay, so $925 if he works 37 hours. Okay. Part B. Nick, can you help us read part B? So, Nick, out of the two pieces on this piecewise function, are we using the first piece or the second piece? Perfect. So, students, this is X. So, R of 50 equals 37.5 times 50 minus 40 plus 1,000. Okay. So, go ahead and work it out. So, Nolan, what is 50 minus 40? Good. And 10 times 37.5, Nolan? That will give us what? 375. And 375 plus 1,000? All right. So his paycheck. By the way, how many hours of overtime is that? 10 hours, yep. Pretty good pay. Okay. Part C, can you help me read this one, please, Shaheen?
How many hours must Ross work in order to earn 1,500 per week?
Good. So, Shaheen, are we looking for X or are we looking for R of X?
We're looking for R of X. No, we're looking for X.
Right. Okay, so 1,500 students represent what variable? X or Y? Y, right? R of X, which is the same as Y. Well, question is, how do you know which piece to plug into? Second piece or first piece? The second piece, because this amount is more than your 10 hours overtime, right, guys? Yeah, so we have to be picking the right piece to solve. So 1,500 equals, and the second piece says 37.5 times X minus 40 plus 1,000, and we're going to solve for X, okay? All right, Calvin, help us out. What's the first step?
You plug it. Oh, wait.
We did. We plugged it in.
You do 37.5 times X.
Distribute?
Yeah.
Okay, so that will give us 37.5x, and then what's 40 times 37.5?
15,000.
15,000? Like that?
Yeah.
Plus 1,000. Drop that down. Okay. Does that seem all right? Okay. Now what, Calvin?
You add negative 15,000 plus 1,000.
Okay, and that would be what?
Negative 14,000.
Negative 14,000. Okay, you're doing great. Tamer, now what?
You have to.
Daniel?
It's not 15,000, it's 1,500.
Is it 1,500? Oh, okay. Ooh, you have an X of 0 there. You're trying to. All right. So that's just gonna be not 14. That's just gonna be. I just have an X of 0. Is that cool? Well, actually, no. That's not 1,500 plus 1,000 is 500, right? Okay.
Now you add the 500.
Now we add the 500. Thank you. All right. Now what do we get on the right on the left side? 2,000. Okay. Equals 37.5x All right, Tamer, finish it up. Last step.
And then you divide both sides by 37.5.
And what did your calculator say when we divide both sides by 37.5?
53.3 repeated.
53.3. So don't give me the decimal when it's repeating. Okay, so 53 and a third. What does that right there represent? Hours. You're right. Yes, you can work fraction of an hours, right, guys? If you want to write 53 and a third hours, that's fine. Some of us said, okay, can I write 53 hours and how many minutes? 20 minutes. Yep. Totally okay to have fraction of an hour and fraction of a minute. All right, we're going to stop right here. Go ahead and work on. Tonight's homework is only which worksheet? The linear one. So how many questions does the linear one have? 10. All right, start on that one.